Hi, Stephen Van Tassel here, wildlife control consultant. Another episode for Living the Wildlife. I'm heading off for a vacation here in a little bit, but I wanted to bang one of these little videos out. One of the passions that I have, or I should say maybe one of the interests that I have, is everyday carry. What do you want to carry with you all the time? When I was still doing field work, serving clients, the last thing you want to be is in the middle of an attic. You had to crawl over all this insulation and work your way from stud to stud, or rafter to rafter. And then you needed a tool that you didn't bring with you, and the scuttle hole is all the way on the other side. So an everyday carry is just something that can sometimes bail you out of a difficult situation. So a lot of us like to use multi-tools, right? So this is one I wanted to talk about today. This is called the Leatherman Super Tool, and I'm going to be changing the angle of the camera here because I'm going to try to break it apart and show you what it is. I don't make any money off if you purchase this or not, so that's not the issue here. This has just been my favorite device, and we can talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of it, so you can certainly make some choices about what you're going to purchase for yourself, because I certainly recommend one that you get one if you don't have one. And you may want to get several of them because you might lose them. You might want to have one in the truck, one at the house. I carry one with me, except when I'm traveling on the airplane, of course. But you want to be sure that you have one, and we'll talk about some of the features that I think are important. So stay with me. I'm going to have to readjust the camera here, so hang in there. All right. As I told you before, this is the Leatherman Super Tool. So made out of Portland, Oregon. So it's an American-made product. It's all stainless steel, as you can tell here. One of the things I like about this particular thing is I have very big hands. I have very fat fingers. So this is about 4 inches long. Almost 4 inches long. Maybe probably maybe 3 1/4, maybe, because it's just getting to the 4-inch side here. So we have what, 1, 2, 3, actually a little over 4 inches long. So remember, we would measure from the edge here to the edge here. So notice it would be the 4-inch mark would be here. So you would start measuring here. It makes it a little frustrating at times because your tendency is you want to focus on this edge here, but no, you have to go all the way to the edge. That can be a little bit of a pain. My point is you have to have, you don't have to, you want to have a way to measure, okay? I think you need to have a ruler. It can be very helpful when you need to sort of just measure something on the fly to get a general idea. It's not as precise as getting a full tape measure, but again, the tape measure is another thing you've got to carry with you. Notice how it has inches on this side and then millimeters on this side, so you have your choice. It's a very little nice feature to have. So I like this because it's nice and big, as I said before, so you can unwind it here. And of course you have your needle nose pliers, which is very helpful. And then it flattens out a little bit. So needle nose pliers they're just something nice to have around, because sometimes you can help grab things that are inside of holes and gaps. Wire cutters, you can see mine are kind of beat up here, so they don't, they're there, but they're going to wear out eventually, and I've certainly beat these up. And then it has, it's not spring-loaded, so if you're going to be using it, you've got to be, flicking it out with your fingers. Some of the products out there do have spring-loaded. One of the features that some people don't like is they don't like the hard edges on your hand. I actually like that, and the reason is because it prevents you from over-torquing. I think the Gerber has the smooth side on your hand side here, but with me, something that I would do is I'd probably torque this too much, and then you end up possibly breaking it. So this way, the pain on my hand prevents me from going too far with it, so that can be an advantage. So those are certainly some nice features. So let's pull out some of the items. So of course you have your regular straight blade knife. Kind of cool. It does have a locking mechanism. You know, it's not something that I would, you know, trust completely, of course, but it does have a locking mechanism, and how you unlock it is that you would have to pull up another item to sort of pull that clip out, and then that allows you to close the other product there. Okay, so your other blade. So you have to pull out another one in order to bend that out. And it's pretty secure, but again, you don't want to, you don't want to be careful with it. It's not like a straight blade where there's always the possibility that that could give. But one of the things that certainly makes it safer for you is that you're holding it like this. So even if the blade came out, it's going to be stopped by this edge here, if that makes sense for you. So that is one certain advantage for this in terms of a safety feature. So let's put that away. So we have our straight blade. Then we have, I think, sort of a leather auger, some sort of a little auger device here. It has a little bit of a cutting edge to it, but it's not that sharp. Something you can use as sort of a probe if you need to punch a hole or punch a groove into something. That'll certainly be useful. Then it has a regular head screwdriver, and I think this edge, this little part here, is so that you can actually use it to cut into cans, I believe. So you can kind of wedge it around, put it on the edge and wedge it around. But don't quote me on that. I've never really, I've only just used it as a screwdriver. Then you have a larger screwdriver, a little wider but shorter. And then a little nice feature here is a file. Now, the file can be useful if you're needing to do some trap adjustments, where you need to file something down. And so that can be kind of cool too. So that is certainly one side of the handle here of this Leatherman Super Tool. So let's go to the other side. And again, here you have a saw. I can't speak highly enough of the saw. It is really, really nice. And so sometimes you just have to gut it out and use a hand saw like this, and it's nice to have that ability to cut through some wood. Very nice. Then you have another screwdriver, regular head, but again, this is a very fine one. If you look carefully at it, you can see, I hope it comes out on the video here, but I bent it because I torqued it too much. But hey, it's a tool. You can tell I've used this. I've had this thing for years. So that is pretty neat. Unfortunately, the device only has one Phillips head screwdriver. But it's kind of a standard one. I think it might be maybe a number 2 or so. So, that is a downside of this particular Leatherman. But I've gotten out various screws, sometimes just with the little fine regular head, so that can certainly be helpful. Then you have a can opener. Never know, right? You need to punch into something. And then you have sort of a serrated blade. This one's kind of wore down. Let me turn it over to get the serrated side because I've been sharpening it. But the serrated blade, sometimes you kind of have to saw, a little bit of saw friction in order to cut through. So this is the Leatherman Super Tool. Again, it's certainly one of my favorite products. I had a special leather pouch made by a saddlery company here in town that they closed. And it even has, one more thing I want to add, it even has a way for you to attach it to a sort of a cord here. Is another way. You can want to attach it to a lanyard, have a lanyard to it maybe so it doesn't fall off your hand if you're using it on a roof. But I found this to be very, very durable. It takes a lot of abuse. I have a lot of respect for Leatherman, and so I've been very happy with this particular device. Again, I have big hands, so I wanted something that I didn't have to have fine. I don't have fine motor skills in my hands, but it's definitely something to check out. And it can save you, whichever brand you get, having a good multi-tool can really be a blessing for you, and it can save you a lot of time and a lot of work without taking up a lot of space or weight on your person or in your truck. So I hope you found that helpful. Let me move my camera back up to me again here. All right. So I hope you found that helpful for you. I'm Stephen Van Tassel, Wildlife Control Consultant. Another episode of Living the Wildlife. Do drop me a line, wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com, wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com. Want to do a little shout out for one of my sponsors here. I've talked about Servant Labs. Aaron Bray out of Texas, servantlabs.com, servantlabs.com by Aaron Bray. He's a webmaster, worked on my website, wildlifecontrolconsultant.com. I have a WordPress site. He's been able to help me out. Do check him out. Maybe he can help you take care of your website issues. Why don't you give him a call? Do appreciate our sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor of Living with Wildlife, definitely reach out to me, wildlifecontrolconsultant@gmail.com. Love your suggestions. I got one the other day from a listener on baiting. I'm going to be talking about some baiting stuff coming up. Stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. Thanks for watching.